Who would believe that a flat biscuit like that, look at that, could turn into something like this? Stick with me while I show you how and tell you how.
Scotland in the early 16th century. The first printed recipe was published by the Scottish poet Gavin Douglas. It was 1513. These were often oatmeal, coarsely ground into flour and made into a flatbread by adding milk, a little fat and salt, cooked on a griddle or over an open fire, and sometimes made with piecemeal or barley, and occasionally potatoes. Strange. They were typically large, round, and scored into triangles or wedges, and referred to as bannocks or fowls if kept whole, or scones if cut into wedges. Now, Scotland's not too far from where my nana's family lived generations ago, and I can just imagine one of them grinding oats on a stone to make these cakes. As early scones didn't use chemical raising agents, that came a lot later, they likely had them as is or later relied on sourdough yeast. Aren't we lucky to have a baking powder today and a temperature-controlled oven? You appreciate the skill and the perseverance and patience of our ancestors. The rise of the afternoon tea. This is where the scone truly cemented its place in British culture. By the 19th century, scones evolved in England, becoming oven-baked, with flour, butter, milk and cream for a lighter texture, but there was no sugar. Anna, the Duchess of Bedford, who was a close friend to Queen Victoria, struggled to get from lunch to dinner, as there was an 8-hour gap between the two. So she started to eat a light meal, sandwiches with a cake or a scone and a drink, and they were served at 4 p.m. Queen Victoria heard about this and thought, it's such a good idea, she started to do the same. If it was good enough for the Queen, it was good enough for everyone else, and the afternoon tea was born.
While scones started in Scotland, they truly became a British icon with the rise of the afternoon tea. I can almost see my mum and nana sitting round a table like the duchesses did, having their tea from dainty cups and eating their scones and cake. I remember my nana and mum sitting down round about 3-4 o'clock for afternoon tea. Did your mum, nana, family relation sit down at a particular time for tea?
Scone memories. While the exact moment the first cheese scone appeared is a delicious memory, it's likely they became more common as baking powder became more available, making scones lighter, fluffier, perfect for savoury additions. So cheese scones are not a new invention, technically. My own recipe for cheese scones, which I'll link below for you, evolved from my nana's recipe, a wartime recipe that was frugal and adaptable, like most recipes of the time. She never really had weights and measures. Everything was done by eye. My mum taught me how to make them and the importance of a light touch when making scones, or they'll turn out heavy. Lighter fingers, lighter fingers. A cultural icon. After the war, economies improved and the food service industry grew. With it, consumerism. To capitalise on this, there came the mass production of food items. Scones weren't just made at home anymore, they were supplied by supermarket chains and bakeries. Restaurants and cafes started to make afternoon teas, and the public did not say no. I've had my share of afternoon teas, and the ritual of sitting down with your family or a group of friends and partaking of sandwiches, cakes and scones, all served on bone china with a pot of good tea, never disappoints.
From ancient grains to royal teas, The scone has truly had an interesting time. And for me, every time I bake a cheese scone, I think about that. I think about Scotland and the Scots. I think about the Duchess sitting down to her afternoon tea with Queen Victoria. I think that I'm continuing a legacy that needs to continue with what I'm sharing here, with what my mum and her mum taught her about baking. Why not share your memories in the comments below? I'd love to hear what you did at afternoon tea, whether it was a particular time, whether it was a particular item that you ate, whether you prefer a cheese scone or a sweet scone. Let me know below. But for now though, I'm going to leave you with this point. A cheese scone is not just for afternoon tea. Liz out.